G'day, I'm Stephen Page from Provan Family and Fertility Lawyers. Thank you for watching and listening to the Australian Family and Fertility Law podcast. Today I'm talking about surrogacy in Cyprus, North and South. If you don't know your history or your geography, Cyprus is an island and it's not named after the tree, it's named after copper because that's what was mined there during Roman era. And it's an island sitting in the Mediterranean, south of Turkey, east of Greece, and west of Lebanon and Israel. And it's divided in two. The north half is the Turkish Republic of North Cyprus, not recognised by anyone but Turkey, so no other country recognises it, and in which Turkish soldiers have always been since they invaded in 1974 in the midst of a civil war. The south, which is generally seen as Greek, is the Republic of Cyprus, which is a member of the EU. So we've got this 50-odd year border between the two countries, the UN line of control that's frozen. And the systems are quite different when it comes to surrogacy. No international parents, no international intended parents, I should say, if any that I know of, have ever done surrogacy in Cyprus, that is the Republic of Cyprus. In part, why? Because if you go there, you've got to get preconception approval from a government board before you can start. Much like happens in Greece through a court. So it has its limitations. But in the north, no one recognises the law there aside from Turkey, and there's no regulation about surrogacy. So it's potentially Wild West. You can do anything you like. And there's the risk. The case that happened last year in the family court in Brisbane called Lloyd Compton was an illustration of that. The couple went to North Cyprus and they had an egg donor from somewhere else and they had a surrogate from somewhere else. At the end of it, what happened with the birth certificate? Well, there's no court procedure in Cyprus. You're relying on the agreement. Biological father goes on and surrogate goes on the birth certificate. In the past, the child would be smuggled across the line of control, I'm told, and registered in the Republic of Cyprus in the south, so in the bottom of the car or truck. These days that doesn't happen. The child's birth is registered in North Cyprus. But I've seen certainly IVF errors made, the wrong embryos used in North Cyprus. North Cyprus does not have a big population. The surrogates will always come from somewhere else. And then there is the risk of the commodification of women and the risk that during the pregnancy, when she's living somewhere else, that she goes into labour. And what are the means put in place to protect her in that and the baby in that other place? So from an Australian point of view, what we saw in Lloyd Compton, Justice Carew was quite clear, referring the Queensland couple to the Director of Public Prosecutions in Queensland for engaging in commercial surrogacy. Ultimately, they weren't charged, but there's that risk. And we know that in 6 out of 8 Australian jurisdictions, that could happen. The ACT, New South Wales, Queensland, Northern Territory, South Australia and Western Australia. So North Cyprus, not recommended, risky. Only a few Australian children have been born in Cyprus over the years for the data kept by the Department of Home Affairs. And as you may have seen from other videos and podcasts, I make a Freedom of Information request every year of the department. And Australia is unique in keeping data that children are born overseas via surrogacy and where they are born. Very few go to North Cyprus. Australian intended parents seemingly have voted with their feet not going there, and I think that's the wisest course. Thank you for watching and listening. I'm Stephen Page from Provan Family and Fertility Lawyers. This is the Australian Family and Fertility Law Podcast.